Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our Wednesday workshop. Today we're going to be looking at affirmative checking. And affirmative checking is a way for students to kind of check in with you before they move on. And let's get started with a video. And I promise you're probably going to be wondering, why in the world is he showing us this video? I promise it does connect.
Well, Ricky is headed this way as he comes into turn 4. He's a little bit lower than the previous guys have been. He cuts down sooner, too. We see the sparks fly off of the car as he hits pit road. Sounded very good from here and looked good.
Looks fast. 3, 2, 1. Stop. Perfect.
Nice entry to the box. The guys go to work. Now changing it up. These changers going to work on the left side first. Different mentality and game plan, trying to pick up time. Jackman Brad John Robinson from New York. Waiting to drop the jag in. He's away. Tires are back across.
Tell you, I like that. 16.3.
Whoa, baby. Whoa, baby.
That thing was sideways.
Sideways.
I don't think that's going to make it.
But what an effort.
Might have blown out a tire there.
Yeah, I think he blew out all of them.
Definitely blew out a tire.
Goodness.
Is it safe to go over yet?
154 miles per hour entering pit road. The difference was that he didn't get on the brakes for about another 100 feet.
That tire was flat.
Like I said, really, really good, or maybe not so much.
Or some of each.
Hard all the way here. Remember your shift points on the way up.
Left well, great launch.
Okay, so like I said, that was kind of a strange video for a little bit of educational tie-in. But with affirmative checking, I like to think of it as a pit stop, right? So we looked at those videos. Doug Limov says that you do affirmative checking by inserting specific points into your lesson when students must get confirmation that their work is correct, productive, or sufficiently rigorous before moving on to the next stage. So it's a place where they have to pause, where they have to stop, make sure that they're thinking, their rationalization, all of that is correct, and that they are answering questions with enough rigor, right? So this is something you can use if your students tend to rush through assignments and just do the bare minimum. If you want to push them to have very rigorous, in-depth answers, you can use affirmative checking. So how this ties into a pit stop and why I think of it this way is when drivers are racing, their vehicles, for the most part, cannot race the entire race without having some problems. So at some point in the race, they're going to have to stop, change their tires, make sure that their tires are good enough to finish, make sure they have enough fuel, and confirm that everything is working correctly in their vehicle. If they don't do that, at some point, their tires are going to fail. They're going to run out of gas. They're going to lose control, right? And what happens there is that if they're racing at several hundred miles per hour and a tire goes out, that's catastrophic. If they run out of fuel, that could also be catastrophic, right? Stopping in the middle of a racetrack with cars zooming by. And so they want to make sure that their vehicles are running in the best shape possible. And when we use affirmative checking, it's our way of preventing educational catastrophes, right? I think we've all been there where we get to the end of a lesson or we've given a test or an assessment of some kind and everybody bombed it. And we said, oh my gosh, I had no idea that they didn't get this. They didn't understand this. I lost them somewhere. And at that point, it becomes a catastrophe, right? Students are starting to feel bad about themselves. They're feeling bad about you as a teacher. They're losing trust in their abilities. And so we want to prevent that by checking in. Hey, before you get too far forward, before you put in all of this work, because that's got to be frustrating, right? I think we've all, as adults, put in a lot of work and effort into something and then had it either canceled or rejected, or somebody had something to say about it. And it's really frustrating when you put in a lot of time and effort on a project and then it's, nope, not good enough, or we don't want that. And so what we're trying to do here is prevent that for students. Before they put in hours of work, or even minutes of work, we want to make sure that they're on the right track. So we're going to have them take a little pit stop, check in, make sure everything's running correctly. So how does that work? First and foremost, checkpoints like pit stops need to go quickly. It's all about speed. How quickly can you give that positive feedback? Yep, you're right. Or that criticism, the correction that they need, go back, fix that, take a look at it again. Or that's not rigorous enough. You need to add more details. However you need to respond, but it needs to be quick. And so you need to know exactly what you are looking for beforehand. You need to know what is the correct answer or possible correct answers. The work should be challenging enough that students would tend to finish at different times, spreading out the checking naturally. So if you have a really easy question to answer, or you believe, oh, everybody can answer this pretty quickly, that is going to cause a problem for you, because you want to check in individually with every single student to make sure that they're correct and give them that feedback to move on. So you want to have it challenging enough that your high achievers or rushers will get done first, and some of those struggling students will get done a little bit later, and you'll have enough time to give them individualized feedback. You can make this approach more explicit by adding bonus work. So if you get to this checkpoint and you need to wait for me to get to you because I'm helping other students, you can work on this bonus assignment, and maybe that's extra credit. Maybe it's just more practice, whatever you want to do with that, but kind of giving them a bonus sounds cool. You will want to develop and use a signal for I'm ready that students can give. So in the classroom, traditionally, you raise a hand, hey, I'm ready, call on me, whatever, come check in. That can be a problem when if it takes a couple of minutes, their arms get tired, they don't want to have their hand raised. And so the hand slowly starts coming down, and they turn and they talk, or they grab their phone or whatever. And then when you say, hey, Johnny, what are you doing? You're off task. They say, well, I'm waiting for you, right? You never came over here. I'm tired of waiting. So give them a signal that they can do, and then continue working, right, on that bonus work. Okay, if you finish and you're waiting for me, work on this project. And maybe it's a long project or a fun project or something like that they can work on. When you're online, it can be as simple as using the raise hand feature in Google Meet, or putting in the chat, I'm ready, or emailing you a document, anything like that. In class, it can be, a thumbs up on the desk, or putting the pencil down, or flipping the paper over. I've had teachers use different colored like solo cups, and red meant I'm struggling and I need help. Yellow meant I'm still working, but I'm okay. And green meant I'm ready for you to check my work. So those are all things that students could do that would not tire them out necessarily. And you can make sign off even faster by combining affirmative checking and show me. So last week we talked about show me, and you can use if you think that the question or the response is going to be quick, you can have them do a quick show me in 3, 2, 1, show me. Okay, everybody but Susie can move on. Okay, something like that. So let's see this in action.
Here's the deal. When I say go, you're going to do number 3. When you're done, raise your hand. If you get it right, I'm going to say move on. Turn the page for a second. I want you to see the next one. After I tell you to move on, you must stop after every 2 you do and raise your hand. I'll come over and check them. If you're good, you'll move on again. Stop after the next 2 and raise your hand. So Markel, everybody flip back. What's going to happen right now? Everybody flip back. What's going to happen right now, Markel? Beautiful. Please start. Yes. Are you ready already? Hold on, I don't have my key. Go. Go. You ready? What'd you combine? Did you combine like terms? You gotta combine like terms. You jumped all the way down. Combine like terms first. What do you got? You forgot to combine like terms. Do that first. Go. Don't forget, you gotta combine like terms first. You jumped all the way to bring variables together, but you forgot the C. The 3 and the 10 can be combined because they're like. Same thing. Do that first. So you're not combining like terms. Okay, hold on. Guys, want everybody to stop for a second. Put your hands down. Put your pencils down. I'm seeing so much of a common mistake that we need to address it. I'm waiting for tracks and slants and pencils down. I'm actually really glad I saw what I saw. Kelly, you got to sit up. This is going to help me to help you. Dion, just turn around. Jordan, I'm waiting. I don't want to wait that long. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing everybody gets this. You guys are really good at this. And you're pretty darn good at this and this. It's combining like terms that's messing around with some of you. When you combine like terms, you think you got to use inverse operations. Let's go over one that nobody's done yet, okay? I want you to flip towards, in fact, let's do this. Turn to your homework. How's that sound?
So in this video, this teacher did a really good job of making sure that he paced out the responses. So at first you noticed they were going to do one question, and that was going to give him a quick check-in with those who got it and could move on, or those who didn't get it and he was going to need more instruction with them. After they did one, they probably know the skill enough to do two. If he had had them stop every time at one, he would have had a backlog of students. Even as it was, there were quite a few students waiting. So he started pacing those out and pushing out how much work students were doing in between the checkpoints.
Who's ready for their turn? Who's ready for their turn? Oh, I see so many scholars. Ready? Underneath your bottom, not yet, there's a green Post-it note. That's going to be your ticket to start your independent work. That's your ticket. It's like you're going into a movie and you're going to hand it to me. That's the only way that you can get to your independent work today, if you hand me your movie ticket with the correct answer. Are you ready? This is what you're going to write on your Post-it note, but you must remember our steps. As soon as you've solved it, I'll notice that you're sitting in star with it, and I'll tell you to come up and check and see if you can come in to do your independent work today. Can you please go get, great job, can you please go get the pencil cup for me? Scholars, the only way that you can come up here, remember, is if I ask you to come. So you should be seated in star so I know that you're ready. I didn't ask you to come. Check your work, please go back and sit down. I can see who's sitting in star. Chan, Elizabeth, go get started. Go get started. Red row if you're ready. Go get started. Go get started. Pencils go back here. Orange and green if you're ready. Go get started. Go check your work. Go get started. Go get started. Now you may go. Green. Come on. If you're ready, check your work, please. That's fine. Go check your work. Green, if you're ready, come. Sorry, oh, green, oh, blue, come if you're ready. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the green and you guys are definitely sitting in blue. Go get started. Okay, only thing that you need to remember is your addition sign and your equal sign. So add those to it and then you can go get started. Go get started. Purple if you're ready. Go get started, Emily. Go get started. Go get started. Go get started. I love the way that I see Chan already getting started on his work silently. That's excellent. Thank you. Okay. You did your own problem, which is great. I need you to do that problem. Okay? Sorry if I was unclear. So go ahead and do that problem quickly. You got it.
All right. With Miss Lewis, I really liked this because it highlighted the fact that some students didn't get it and they needed to go back and they needed to check what they were doing. Either they were rushing or they missed something or they didn't follow instructions. And I really like that because it really puts the ownership of the learning back on the students and stresses the importance of what they're doing. Whenever we do something and, okay, you got it wrong, but go ahead and move on, we're saying that wasn't important. But when we say you didn't get that correct, you need to go back and fix it. You need to put more time in with that. We're stressing this is important learning. This is what matters. This is what you need to put your focus on, and you're not going to get away with not learning it. Right? There's no escaping you learning this, and it helps that engagement and it helps students to know, okay, if I'm doing this, my teacher's going to ask me to show that I'm learning it. And I really liked that with this video. All of the checkpoints do not have to be done by you, which should come as some relief. So you can provide a key, an answer key, and say, okay, when you are finished working on the first 3 problems, look at the answer key. If you got them correct, you can move on. If not, you need to go back and check your work or check in with me or whatever. And the online way of doing this would be using a Google form. So you can create Google Forms in quiz form and identify the correct answers. And you can have the form go to different pages based on the student's answers. So if they answer incorrectly, you can have them go to a page that says, you answered incorrectly, you need to go back and check your work. Or you can even give them an additional question that might say, okay, you got that one wrong, let's try again with a different question or a similar one, or maybe providing a little bit of scaffolding information. If they got it correct, it can go to a page that says, hey, you got it correct. Now, here's the next question. Here's the next level. You can build a checkpoint inside of Google Forms that will walk through every single question or problem that you have. You can also have elbow partner pre-checks. That would be where they would turn and talk to whoever's closest to them, and they would say, okay, what did you get? I got this. Why did you put that? And then they have to come to an agreement on the answer before they can come check in with you. Online, that would look like forming breakout rooms of 2 to 5 students maybe, and they all have to discuss their answers, and then they come up with a group consensus of this is what we think is the correct answer, and then they would bring that to the teacher to check in. You could also have an expert checker. If you have identified through other forms of assessment that there is a student who has the skill that you are targeting or is advanced or just is kind of always ahead of the game, you can have that student become an expert checker where they are helping you to check students and check their work. As with any of these skills and techniques, you don't want to overutilize any one of them. So don't always have a key. Don't always have elbow partners. Don't always have you being the checker. Don't always have an expert checker. Mix things up, and that will keep students on their toes, but also keep people from falling in the cracks of the learning. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, you are always free to email me, call or text, or book an appointment with me. Of course, these slides will be available in Google Classroom. Please reach out. I am here to help. Thank you. Have a great week.